Dennis,
Zach.
you're the next contestant on The Price is... Wait, is that copyright?
Da, da, da,
Can I
da,
say
da.
that?
I hope not. Da, 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 'cause I'm definitely breaking it now. I was on the
What?
That's right.
I was gonna
As
say,
I was in the
what was the best
audience.
game you got to watch?
They had Plinko. I love Plinko.
Oh my god, I
That's the best
forgot.
game.
You got to see
That's the best
Plinko
game.
easily.
Right.
Oh, it's hands down.
It's once you find the right spot, I mean, you could just rain 10K and like no skill. Like it's all just like I
And you
think
just
that's one of the easiest games.
and you get the people going.
It would be low key the hardest game. The putting.
Huh. Oh yeah.
I would be so nervous. I know it's straight and like you should hit it, but I would like have so much anxiety.
Imagine trying to play that game when Bob Barker was the host.
Oh yeah, because he knew he would have drained it. He would show you up and hit it from the back line.
Right. I don't want any of that smoke.
No, that's some beat Happy Gilmore's ass.
Yeah, literally. We're back.
We took a little break, but we're back.
Yeah, we do what we want to do. There's no rules.
Yeah, we're in off-season mode.
Yeah, it's like I feel like we're in like a bear den, and sometimes the bear wakes up and it's like, oh shit, what's going on here? And then they do some bear stuff and then they go back. They sleep. That's what we do. We do a lot of sleeping.
Although we're definitely awake now and excited because it's coming up.
That I had wheels turning in there. You said, what's coming up, and I was like, in my head, I was like, sing the draft song, and then in my head, all the SpongeBob's were running around. Where's the draft song? Where's the draft song? And then I couldn't.
The files in the fire. That's awesome.
But anyways,
you know what's sad is my students don't get SpongeBob references. That's one of the biggest changes from beginning of my teaching career to now. Is they used to always get them, and now they don't because they were born like 2010, 2009, and so like by the time they're like watching and remembering stuff, like SpongeBob's been done, or like at least now it's like relevant. I know they only know the memes.
I'm glad SpongeBob has at least left lasting impression on the memes.
Definitely.
Well,
yeah, man. Draft day, 6 days.
6 days away. Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen, and I think that's really fun.
Except for pick one.
Yeah, I just want. They're gonna fuck up. I already know it. They're gonna take.
You don't think they're going?
Walker.
You think that's gonna happen?
I really do.
No.
I know.
Ooh, I don't like that.
I don't either.
I get the toolsy part of it, but like, I would go Trayvon over him. Thibodeau, like, I don't know.
It's one of those things that you've got front off or NFL teams convince themselves that they're the one who can take the tools and put it together. It's just stupid. I was reading some tweets about like sack percentage when there was no help or anything, and it was like Hutchinson's chilling at 25%, and then Trayvon Walker's at like 10%, and like all the good pass rushers in the class are like high teens to mid 20s. It's insane. I think I might have lost Dennis, but I'm gonna keep going because that's what we do. We're talking Debo. He wants a trade. That came out of the blue. I mean, I was just at work, and all of a sudden my phone gets an alert that says Debo wants out. Not only that, Dennis is back.
Sorry.
It's okay.
There was technical difficulties. All right. But yeah, so 6 days away. Sorry, what did I miss?
Oh, dude, I plowed along. I was talking to the people. I told them about how I saw a tweet I forgot exactly what it was. It was like percentage pass rush percentage, or like sack percentage, where it was like all you, and it was like Hutchinson was like 25%, and the other good pass rushers were like 18, and then there were, anywhere from there to like 27, and then you had Trayvon Walker chilling at like 10.
I think I think Hutchinson is just the best combination of like he has all the tricks in the bag, and then he's athletic enough to be fine. You know what I mean? Right. Like he's not the greatest athlete. That's he's not Garrett. Oh my God, Myles Garrett. Sorry, but like he's still a very, very good player. Many people have him as the best player in the draft. I think that'd be foolish not to take him. But anyway, we'll see what happens at 101.
Then I was saying,
my shining knight.
Debo, man. When that popped up on my phone, I was like, "Excuse me?" Like out of the blue.
So I knew that they were having issues with extensions and stuff like that, but I didn't know how much of it was. I assumed it was they weren't offering him enough money. Not that Debo has been like, "No, I don't want to talk extensions. Trade me," because that's the report now. Is that he's not even listening to San Francisco. He's just trade me.
Why?
It's dumb. It makes me sad because like Shanny is the one that's going to use him the best.
Right. He's on a good team.
And like from San Francisco perspective, like they're like, they went all in, like they're ready to win right now. So like, they don't want to move him. He doesn't want to be, it seems like he doesn't want to be used as running back because it doesn't want the wear and tear of running back carries. But I also feel like last year was just like a weird situation with all the running back injuries. Right. And I feel like there has to be a way to come to some kind of understanding like, hey, we will limit your running back touches, like your true RB touches.
Is that really what it's coming down to?
I think that's what it is. I mean, but Debo, I wish Debo would just like come out with a statement or something like that and be like, or like sit down on like the, like one of those player podcasts and just say his side of the story. You know what I mean? Because all he's really doing is just reacting and saying like, Schechter, you're wrong. I don't care about living in California. Because that was one of the things that came out earlier this week. I saw that. I love Debo. He's maybe my favorite player besides Justin Fields. And like, if that was the reason he wanted to trade because he wanted to play closer to his hometown, like that would be a very big like red flag to me. Just because like, dude, you got to suck that up. Like,
there's no way that's true.
That's not being grown. Like that's a little kid thing. There's
no way.
Yeah, so I think it's like a combination of things, and I don't know. Like if he goes to Jets, I'll be so sad. If he goes to the Packers, it might kill me.
Might is an understatement.
I sent it to the group chat, but it's that girl doing the TikTok dances while she's wiping away tears. That would mean me every time that he scores a touchdown for the Packers. I would goddamn hate it, but I love Debo so much, I would still be happy. He would eat there too. He would absolutely kill it.
So bad.
Oh, it would be so annoying how good he would be there.
I'm just living in a world over here of like a fucking montage of you just in misery watching him eat with the Packers.
Oh, and all our Packers friends would just troll me left and right. Oh, it'd kill me.
Especially if Debo was the piece that got him past,
Stop it.
Okay, we're going
this
forward.
Is a dark reality.
We're going to talk about wide receivers who are not asking for trades.
They're looking to get drafted.
I would say that thank you for slimming that down properly for me because I did not do a good job of that.
It was an alley-oop. You're good. We're Lob City. You're good.
We got. I want to say there's a consensus top 4.
I think so.
I read this article on this website. It's called Yards Per Fantasy. Yeah, and I think this guy, his name was I think it said Dingus, and he wrote an article of talking about the top 4 guys, and Dingus did a great job. I know his name is Dingus, but don't take him for a dingus. He is a dingus, but when it comes to wide receivers, he's not. Dingus, take it away.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was my debut article, and I personally am very happy with how it turned out. It got a little bit longer than I was anticipating. Took a little bit longer than I was anticipating, but I had a lot of fun. Originally, it was only going to be between Wilson and Burks, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? Let's throw Jameson. Let's throw Drake London. Let's get all of them in there because I think that's the top tier. I know a lot of people like Olave.
We're having a wide receiver party.
We are. I know a lot of people like Olave. I think Olave is a very good player. I don't think he's going to be the number one wide receiver in this class. That's just my take. I don't think his ceiling is there. That's the biggest thing on him. But anyway, so I figure we'll go through the list and we'll talk through our, these four, and I'll say kind of what I said about them. We'll hear your 2 cents, your thoughts, your takeaways, and then we'll rank them. We'll see how our ranks line up, and then we'll talk kind of the tier 2 guys that we like. We just don't think that they don't have a shot at wide receiver 1, in our opinion.
Fair enough.
So the first guy, Jaylen Burks, we already talked about him on a pod. He's a big dude, 225, 6'2", We thought he'd run a little bit faster. He shows it on tape. His GPS marker, he was the fastest guy of the wide receivers besides Jameson Williams, obviously. But for his size, his size speed score is insane. I personally just don't know how he fits into an offense. I think he's kind of right. I don't want to say gadgety because that gets a negative connotation, but I just feel like he needs to go to a team that has a plan for him because I think he's a little bit raw right now.
Oh, he is. He's definitely very raw. Big time potential, big time talent, big time size, and that's you can't teach that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where he goes. It's unlike the other guys on the list. He's the most dependent on that, I think.
And he might benefit a little bit from falling and get to one of those good teams like Green Bay or Kansas City or Buffalo.
Right.
So I mean, it might be to his advantage that he's not, because I'm kind of giving it away, but I think he's going to fall in the draft a little bit.
They're going to trade Debo and take Treylon.
That'd be pretty saucy. That'd be interesting. Next guy, Garrett Wilson. Dude, I saw someone, they said it as a negative, but it kind of makes me like him. They said he's an and one mixtape guy out there trying to break ankles when he's running routes.
Yes.
They say because he falls down too much, that's bad. Well, I'm sure when he gets coached up a little bit more, he won't fall down as much. I mean, I watched a lot of tape. I didn't think that was a huge problem, but I guess if you're falling down at all on routes, that's probably not good. That leads to interceptions and stuff like that.
Right.
But he's a little bit on the shorter side. He's under 6 foot. He's 180, 185 in that range. But he plays bigger than that. He goes up. He's got a good vertical. He ran in the 4.3s. He had production every single year with different quarterbacks. I think he got better every year in college, and I think his hands at times, I think there's some concentration drops, but he's got plucky hands. And
I would say for his lack of size, he is still showing that he can go up and get it.
Mm-hmm. And just when you watch him, he just looks like a wide receiver that is ready for the pros. Right. I think he's probably the most NFL ready, partially due to health. The next 2 guys aren't healthy at the current moment, but I just feel like he was a 5-star recruit out of high school, going to Ohio State, looked the part, and I think he is just one of those top tier guys. I think he's the safest wide receiver in this class.
I agree with you there. One thing I've learned over the last handful of years, evaluating prospects and stuff, not that it's been my job or that I've been trying to, carve a career or anything, but I don't know. I love Wilson a lot. He's grown on me a lot through the process because the dude can get open for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing I have undervalued in the past. And it's like make you miss running back kind of thing. Like, that's the stuff that shows on tape.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me with Kenneth Walker, one of the reasons I love him is that when you watch him and he just makes dudes look stupid. And that's stuff that translates. Like, you know what I mean? And if you are that good of a route runner, it will translate. Like, getting open is getting open. Now,
and he did it at like the highest level. He did it in the Big Ten. His combine backed everything up. In fact, I was impressed with how fast he ran. I didn't think he had I think he was fast. I didn't think he was 4.38.
Yeah, that's faster than I thought he would test too. And like, I know the NFL obviously is like better competition and stuff, and the speed's way better, but like, I just think in today's game, route running is such a craft, and like, if you already, you know, have that much polish to it, it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm. And another thing about him is he was a dual sport athlete. He was very good at basketball. That was actually his first love. He said the only reason he gave up basketball is because he didn't grow enough. But you can kind of see that when he's out there. You know, he's got those like crossover kind of guard skills where he's setting dudes up, you know, and hitting him with the shoulder fakes and stuff like that. And then just one other thing is his release package is very good, which is something that I always, you know, care a lot about, because that's how you beat presses with your footwork, and your hands help too. And you know, if you're really strong like DK, that helps too. But like, if your feet are quick and you make a miss, it doesn't matter if you are strong and big and stuff like that.
And
he draws penalties. He drew a lot of penalties, like pass interference.
Mm-hmm. The what you were just saying about the release, I'll footnote that.
Mm-hmm. Next guy, unfortunately, very disappointed he didn't run on his pro day. Is Drake London. A little bit shorter than listed. He's 6'4", a little bit under 6'4", 6'3", and like 0.8 or whatever. But he was also bigger. I think he tested like 218. So big boy. And he kind of plays like it. He's got insane body control, especially at the sideline. You know, he was another hooper. You can tell when he's going up for stuff, and he gets good body position, like Burks does, like we mentioned when we did the breakdown on him. You know, but my thing is he keeps getting knocked as like a contested catch guy. I don't think he's that at all. He's a yak machine. He's bullying people out there. Like, he is an absolute dog with the ball in his hand, looking to just lay people out.
It's crazy, this wide receiver class, in a way that, like, obviously we have 4 guys that could be the best one, and all 4 are like completely different players.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think he had a disadvantage that Jameson Williams and that Garrett Wilson didn't have. And even to some respect, Jaylen Burks, is he had nothing around him. Right. Quarterback, like there were injuries at quarterback. It was between him, Slovis, and Dart. And as soon as he left that offense, look at what they did. Like, he was that whole offense. Everybody knew it going in, and he was still able to produce. A lot of the times it was just, hey, here's the ball. Go make something happen. Which is cool because sometimes that happens in the pros too. Right. Like, he's not just a big go down the field and catch it guy. Like, you can give him the ball and make stuff happen. That's why he reminds me of Brandon Marshall. Now, maybe he's not Brandon Marshall because Brandon Marshall's a Hall of Famer in my book. But, like, I think he has that as a ceiling. But I also think, like, if he goes to a place with, like, a bunch of wide receivers, like Philly, for example, then I don't know how good of fantasy he'll be right at the beginning, because I think he does need volume. I'm kind of hoping he goes to the Jets. I think he would be their number 1 there. I know people love Eli Moore,
easy.
But I think London would eat there.
I'm he's the prospect that I'm the most like I can't make up my mind about. And I don't know, I don't consider myself like astute enough to like, make a hard opinion either way. But like you see some things that make you love him, but then like I see some clips. Like for instance, I saw people falling in love on Twitter of a clip of him in a practice. Just him one on one with the DB, and it's just skies up and plucks it out of the end zone over the guy and goes down. Cool. Looks great. Everyone on Twitter's freaking out. And I saw one guy was like, this isn't actually impressive. Watch the video. And he shows London's release, and he dead legs his left leg the entire time until he goes to plant it. He's literally sold himself out this entire route with his dead leg. And in my head I'm like, that shit is the stuff that doesn't translate to the NFL. People are going to pick up on that quick. Now, can you coach that out of him? Probably. So like, I don't know with him. It's you were talking about with his yak, and you just see a lot of things that I'm like, oh wow, this guy. But then when I start to see little things like that, I get a little concerned. Especially for someone who is going to be a first round pick, like
maybe the first one off the board,
right? Like leaving your dead leg completely useless until you go to plant with it, to me should be a pretty fun, a root level fundamental.
No, and he's definitely not a special like burner. Like he's not like particularly athletic. Like people keep comparing him to Mike Evans. I don't think that's a very good comp.
Oh, there's no way.
I think Mike Evans is a far superior athlete. Was more polished. People just don't. I think Mike Evans is like permanently underrated.
I think so too. I don't think there's a single thing that London does that's better.
No.
And that's not a knock on London. Mike Evans is fucking beast.
Right. I think the biggest thing that like I love dog in players. I like players that like want it and like are like they got that chip on their shoulder, because I think that translates, because like that doesn't go away because you make the pros. Like if you have that mentality, like in college when you're like a D1, you're a high ranked player, coming out of high school, then like that chip goes away. If you still got it in college, then you're going to have it for the rest of your life. You're always going to be that person that's finding it. And so like, I just like note like the Notre Dame game, like that's a A+ defense. And I mean, every single play plowing into dudes, getting up, clapping, laughing, he was getting those players all mad at him because he knew he had more dog in him than them. Now, Kyle Hamilton did get hurt that game. So that definitely is a big knock, because he might be a top 5 pick this draft. Maybe the best player in the draft if you ignore positional value. But I really like a lot of things about London, but I agree. He could be, the next JJ Arcega-Whiteside, or, he could be, the next Brandon Marshall, in my opinion. He's got a big spectrum of, kind of like Burks. He's got a big spectrum of what he could end up being early in a rookie draft. Like that's the worst thing you want, is to whiff. And I think London's going to go, and like, especially one QB, I don't think he makes it past 5 or 6,
Probably not.
So definitely not 7. Anyway, last guy, Jameson Williams, speed. I think you got to start there.
This dude, to me, don't overthink this guy.
Like, he potential landing spot could put him 101. If the Chiefs trade up for him, he is going to absolutely destroy, because he has A+ speed and he can decelerate like Tyreek can, which is pretty impressive for a dude I think he's like 6'1.5". Like he's got decent size. Like Jameson Williams has been like someone like I've slowly been like, wow.
Yes. Wow. This dude, like, yeah, it's one of those ones people you can watch and people want to try and nitpick and find things. I have yet to see something, and maybe this is just kind of part of my process, is like soaking in what everybody else says.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially when they don't agree with you. I love reading those.
Yes, exactly. And I can't find nobody, like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything negative about him that made me go like, oh yeah, you know what? And I don't know.
The big thing is, why didn't he produce at Ohio State? I think that's the biggest thing against him, at least in my opinion.
When was he there?
He was there his first 2 years. So he was there with Justin Fields for 2 years.
As I didn't even realize that.
For a guy that loves throwing the deep ball. Why wasn't Jameson Williams getting deep balls? But dude loved Olave. Wilson was there. It was a crowded wide receiver room. Now, a lot of that could be opportunity, and maybe the coaches didn't know what they had in him. You know, like I said, Garrett Wilson was a 5-star coming out of, high school. Olave was already there, and already the coaches knew him. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, and
it's not like he transferred to Toledo or Miami of Ohio. He went to Alabama. Like,
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
It's not like he went to some scrub school and then he produced like insane production, and like versus like Georgia was the best player on the field.
And and on the flip side, it's not like he transferred from Toledo where you're like he didn't even have anyone to compete against. How could he not post these numbers? So yeah, on both accounts, I don't think, to me, it's not that big of a concern.
And I think the other knock is like recent speedsters hasn't really panned out. Like first round fast, he probably would have ran 4.2 in my opinion. He would have. And so like those guys haven't come out and done a lot of work recently.
And normally I am like anti those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's something different about him. I don't know what it is. There's something different about Jameson Williams.
So some differences between like him and Ruggs is like return ability. Dude has multiple kickoff returns for a touchdown. That screams Deshaun Jackson, right?
Yes.
Ruggs only had high level production against the worst teams, and it didn't happen enough. Whereas James Williams produced like his last like 7 or 8 games, every game he was killer, including against Georgia, who many people said that was the best defense they'd seen in, a decade or more.
Oh, dude, I was just about to say the play that he blew his knee out. If Bryce Young throws a decent pass, it's a touchdown.
Plus in the SEC championship game, 2 touchdowns, like 150 yards, like 7 catches. And like I said, like he can stop, you know what I mean? So when we have the speed that scares the living shit out of everybody else, and you can decelerate, that's speed outs, and that's hitches for days. You know what I mean? Like he can do that kind of stuff. You can't
stop that,
right? The biggest thing is, does he come back with all that speed? And with how ACLs have been, most of the players are coming back out, pretty much normal.
I almost just said yes before you even kept talking, because to me, ACLs they're not a thing anymore.
For the most part, it has to be like the total knee blowout, like you're tearing all 3 ligaments, and it was like a broken, like dislocated kneecap,
the Willis McGahee injury or something,
right? Where it's just like everything is destroyed.
But like,
so I don't know, man. I really like Jameson Williams.
Same.
And he's slender. Now, part of that I've read that you lose like in an ACL injury, you're going to lose like 10 pounds from your injured leg in like your thigh and stuff like that, just from inactivity, because you can't put weight on it. So part of that could be that. But he's like 6'1.5". He is good at contested catches. He goes up and gets it for how slender he is. He's, like I said, he's 6'1.5", I think. He's definitely over 6 feet. And he goes up and gets it for a little, like, for a slender dude. So I don't think he's Henry Ruggs. I don't. I think he's much more Deshaun Jackson.
It's been these like him and John Ross. There's been these dudes who people fell in love with because they ran a 40 and then they got drafted in the first round. And I've never been sold. And I can't pinpoint it with Williams. There's just something different there, man.
No, I'm with you there. I really like him. So my ranks ended up being Wilson is wide receiver 1, I had Drake wide receiver 2, Jamison wide receiver 3, Burks wide receiver 4. This is pre-draft, independent of landing spot, and a lot of it just has to do with like I pre-draft. I kind of value floor a little bit more, but Jamison and Drake are really close. I'm just like, if Jamison goes to if he goes to like Washington, like, do I trust Wentz to maximize him?
No.
You know, but if he goes like Philly, do I trust Hurts to maximize him?
No.
But if he ends up like, I'm telling you, if he goes to Green Bay, if he goes to KC, he will be wide receiver 1. I don't give a hoot.
Yeah, is that where you're kind of cemented on your rankings with him?
Yeah, so I got Wilson, Drake, Jamison, Burks.
I'm Wilson, Jamison, and then the other 2 guys are like neck and neck landing spot dependent for me.
Which would you rank them? You got to do it. Hot take season.
You're right. It is. It's hot take season. We're doing a podcast.
You like Burks, man.
All right. Fine. Drake London, you're fucking out.
So would you have Jamison and Wilson and Jamison kind of in like their own tier 1, and then those other guys tier 2, or would you say
yes.
all 4?
No, yeah, I think that's where I've got it too.
See, I got all 4. Like, I think Wilson is a little bit above the rest, but then like those other 3 guys, I got them all kind of grouped because Burks does have that special like raw frame, raw ability that if it's molded correctly, he could be like, one of the best players in football.
Well, that's why when we talked about him that one time, the 2 people I gave that I could kind of see in him were Steve Smith and Jordy Nelson. And obviously that's like hyperbole, but like you're saying, if someone molds him correctly, he could literally do things like both of those guys did.
Yeah, and like he is very like country, like he loves to hunt, like he loves to go bow hunting and like hunt boar. Like he's got like some like he's got alpha in him if things are set up correctly. So no disrespect to Burke stands. I'm sure people are gonna be mad, but I'm definitely team Wilson over.
Yeah, I'm Wilson number 1 because I think he's just the most complete. He's a polished route runner already, and that's huge. I got Williams too. So he's the eye test guy for me.
Obviously. Do you think if he didn't tear his ACL, he would be 1 for you?
That would be really close, but I think he'd be the first one off the board.
I think he would 100% be the first one off the board. I think teams would be trading up for him.
I agree. He would be like Kyle Pitts territory. Like he'd be going 4 to 10, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, I would go Burks 3, London 4. Okay. There. It's official.
Write it down. Put it on the board.
Carve it into a stone.
So let's talk about some of the guys that we have outside that we don't think could be wide receiver 1. Let's start with Olave, because I think a lot of people, especially that like not the fancy football Twitter, especially like the NFL Twitter, loves Olave.
Yes.
What are your kind of thoughts on him?
I haven't like super dug into him, but like he just screams like, and I'm gonna try and come up with something off the top of my head.
He's like, I think I know you're going. I'll let you think while I'll filibuster for you. All right.
Thanks.
I think he's very smooth runner. I think he's got ability, but I don't think he's that special dude. And I think that he like yak is not a strength of his. I don't think he's physical nearly enough. And I think he's a 2. And so I think he's going to be a good like Z wide receiver. I think he can play that position well, but like I just don't think he's ever going to be an alpha.
Yes, and that's exactly where I was going. I was trying to come up with a guy off the top of my head who like fits that mold, and
mine's Robbie Anderson.
Oh,
you think he's better than Robbie Anderson?
Yes. But like, yes, I think he's just gonna be a good NFL player. And whether that translates to fantasy production year in and year out, like I don't know, someone like Cole Beasley. I know he's a slot guy, strictly, but like he's had his moments of fantasy relevance.
But you're saying like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3.
Right, but like overall, when you look back, you're going to be like, Cole Beasley, that dude had a good NFL career. Like,
I agree.
I think here you go. I think Olave is going to be a better NFL receiver than fantasy.
I can see that. So he's definitely a very smooth route runner. He's a technician. He's good at deep threat. He can track the ball well. He's got good hands. But like I said, my biggest knock on him is physicality, which I've already mentioned. Like, I don't think he has dog in him. I think he's like an ice skater. He's like he's like that classic. He's a Ferrari. As long as things are set up well, he's gonna be great. But like if one thing goes wrong, then it's not, gonna be Gucci. Man, Atlanta's up 10 now.
Yeah, buddy.
I do have one caveat, and I hope it doesn't happen. Not because, let me just say it. If the Bears were somehow to land Olave, then he could be a wide receiver 1 because him and Fields have that connection.
Yeah,
it was very evident. Fields loves the deep ball. Olave is good at the deep ball. But I think the Bears would have to trade up a lot. And so as a Bears fan, I don't want that to happen because they have way too many holes. But I would think it would be fun.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree with you though. I think he's a better pro than a fantasy guy. And I don't think you're going to take him and be like, it's kind of like, this is a Matthew Berry line. You're not going to like lose or like be a bad dynasty, manager if you draft Olave. Like, I don't think that's going to be a bust.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, it's a safe play. I would rather, if I'm picking in the first, I want, like, once I know the landing spot, I want ceiling involved here. Now, if you're like 108, 109, 110, okay, fine. If you're good, that means you're a good playoff team. You're just looking for contributors. I get it.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking like, the top 5, top 6 picks, like I want somebody that could change my team.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Next guy's Dotson. I know you like him. I really like him. I think he's an electric slot guy.
Yes.
Catch radius, insane.
Yes.
He's got a very big wingspan, much bigger than his height. He's just quick, and like I think he got screwed being at Penn State and just having trash ass QBs. Like, can Penn State get a QB for once?
No, they cannot.
These poor guys. I mean, Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, KJ Hamler, Dotson. I feel horrible for him.
I forgot that Godwin.
Yeah, that's why he was so under the radar. Just ridiculous. These poor dudes. Why do you keep going to Penn State?
They can't. I know.
Go somewhere else.
If you play wide receiver and Penn State comes knocking, say, hit me back up when you got a quarterback.
Thanks, no thanks.
But yeah, I'm a big fan.
Unless you're going there for the whiteout games, because then, all right, I'm with you. Because the whiteout Penn State is dope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this was a dude for me just watching some Penn State through the season that he just popped. Popped on the screen.
He's good.
And I was like, back then instantly, this is a guy who's going to be on my radar. That's like, same thing with Williams. It was like a don't overthink this, but not that like I'm going to go get him in the first or something, but like keep an eye on Dotson because that guy could play.
Yeah, I think, I think landing spot can be important because as his role could be different things. Like, he could end up in like a field stretcher role like KJ Hamler, and that probably won't be great for him fantasy wise. Right. Or he could end up as like a volume slot guy, and I think he would absolutely eat and be like a wide receiver 2 easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got his catch radius is insane. He's good after the catch. He's got a good release package. He puts people on their ass. He is little, both in height and weight. So that's a knock, but he's got good hands. Like
I think he's going to make a nice player.
Yeah, I like him.
Speaking of guys who can ball, George motherfucking Pickens.
I think we're both looking for our teams to get him in the second.
Dog. That's all I got with this guy.
Have you seen him blocking?
This guy's a dog.
Have you seen him blocking?
No. Should I?
You need to.
Okay.
He is deboing people, and not deboing like Debo Samuels. I'm talking from Friday. He is just blasting people. He is a badass when it comes to blocking, and that's just something that shows like, oh, he knows he's physically better than you, and he's not gonna let you ever forget it, which is what someone like him with his frame should do.
Yes. Big George Pickens fan. I did not know much about him until late in the season.
That's my dream.
Yeah, I want Jags to take him at top around 2, but I know they won't.
They won't.
Yeah, that guy's gonna be good.
Now his medicals with his knee. If he drops, that's why. So that'll be because the teams know more than us. So if he's falling, that's what it's going to be. And so be careful if he falls to like late second because he shouldn't be there. He's like a top, if healthy, he's probably a top 25 player in this class.
Right. He doesn't drop the ball. That dude has spider tack hands.
Yes. And he's 6'3". He ran 4 sub 5. I think he was like 4.48, which is all you need. You know, that's fast as hell for someone that big.
And also going back to guys going under the radar because of shit QB play.
Plus, I read an article because I was reading a lot because, like I said, I really want the Bears to get him. I think if the Bears get him, then their wide receiver situation is going to be okay because he can be the X. Georgia said as soon as he got on the campus, he was the best wide receiver they had as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And so that says a lot because not like Georgia is some scrub school. And he tore his ACL last spring during the spring game, so that sucks. But he came back and he had a really big catch in the playoffs. I think in the national championship game, right?
Yeah, it was that deep ball.
Yeah, because I took the over on his yards and it hit. Gamblers. But anyway, he's just he has all the tools. It's just health, and it's why wasn't he more productive? But like you said, Zach, I think it's because of his situation. It's kind of like Georgia running backs. Like Georgia running backs there's never just one dude because it's Georgia. Like they want to run the ball and they want to play defense and they're going to cycle the running backs and they're not going to pass a lot. So
we haven't seen a dominant Georgia receiver since AJ Green, and he had someone pretty good throwing the ball.
It's easy scouting, but he does remind me of AJ Green.
Yeah, I could see that actually.
He really does.
Yeah.
Plus this year, Bowers, the tight end for Georgia, I mean, that dude is different. That dude might be from Kyle Pitts to Kyle Pitts range too.
Yeah, you weren't wrong because he's doing Kyle Pitts stuff as a freshman.
You got to notice it in the SEC. Tight end produce. It's really hard for tight ends to produce when they're young. But yeah, Pickens, assuming his knee is okay and his medical is checked, I think he's going as like a early top half of the second round. And honestly, if someone took him in the first, I would not be shocked.
No, me neither.
I mean, would you? I mean, no. I would bet on him.
I think he's great.
I know we both have that dream of our team getting him, which tells you a lot. Next guy, Christian Watkins. Gotta be honest, I didn't know his name until the combine, and he got a 10 relative athletic score. Roz.
Yeah, that's about all I know about him. I haven't checked tape on him or anything.
He's got that, the Chase Claypool.
I was gonna say I know he's kind of that big, tall, just real fast.
Good size.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him. I'll be honest.
He's like 6'4", 210.
I just know he's big and fast.
He was at North Dakota State, which is Trey Lance. But I don't know with like their overlap. I'm not sure how much they really played together. But I know they've used him like he was kind of like Drake London, where he was all right. Like you are far and above our best player. We're just gonna get you the ball however we can. So he has some running ability. Like he got handoffs. A lot of the hey, here's the ball, go do something. So he's got yak. He's a dog. He's got dog. Now
it's good he was used in that way as well.
Right. Now, part of that could be he was playing against a bunch of, like, I don't know the right term, but Division II guys.
Right.
But I think his athletic score says that he could have handled some, high-level competition. He's someone I'm very interested in, raw. So if you're taking him, don't expect much year one, I would anticipate,
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Not at all.
But I keep seeing him getting mocked to Green Bay if they stay at 22. And if he goes to Green Bay, year one is going to be rough, but because just historically, it takes a minute for guys to earn Rodgers' trust, even like guys like Jordy Nelson,
Yep.
But year two, watch out. So he's 100%, the home run, who's that Vogelbach, that big guy that the Cubs used to have? He's that swing.
He just hit a home run last night against the Cubs.
Good for him being in the pros still. I love that. He's definitely benefiting from universal DH.
I was just about to say NLDH was a big plus for him.
Right. But yeah, Watson's someone to keep an eye on. Honestly, if you took him probably like as wide receiver 6 or wide receiver 5, I wouldn't knock you. If you want to be like, yo, I trust him. I'm betting on the upside. He's got a lot of ability.
Yeah, that's a guy that you plant your flag on the talent and hope it pans out.
You're going late first, so you're probably a winning team, or you had multiple firsts and you acquired them, and so you're shooting for the moon, see what happens. Our last tier 2 guy is David Bell. Kind of the opposite. He was the anti-workout warrior. He ran like a 4.65, 4.67, which is not great. Plus like he produced like crazy at Purdue, but Purdue is one of those offenses that's like very scheme up stuff. And it's like, it's not a lot of like, hey, go win this. It's, hey, we're going to do everything we can. And this ball is going to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I personally love David Bell. He went to the high school that my middle school feeds into. So it's kind of a legend in our area. And so I hope he kills it. I like him. I would take him at the end of the first round in rookie drafts in a 1 QB. I think I just trust that he has enough savvy to make it happen.
Yeah, there's just a ton of depth in this class. And I would say another guy I've seen a lot about, I didn't know much or at all about, but pre-draft is Skye Moore.
Yeah.
That's a guy, it just seems like can get himself open. And that's like we talked about earlier. Like, I love that trait. So I think Skye Moore is a great route runner. And it's kind of like that Cooper Kupp thing where he went to Eastern Washington. So people were like, oh, God, I don't know. But clearly the route running savvy translated.
Yeah, and he ran 4.4. So he's clearly got athleticism. He's a smaller dude, but he's like that smaller built kind of dude. Kind of like, I don't think he's as short as Rondale Moore. But you get, that kind of idea.
Right.
Speaking of Purdue guys. But yeah, I probably need to invest and become a dynasty nerd, whatever their paid subscription is. And so I can get more tape on him because the only one I can find is when he played Pittsburgh. It was a good game. He did well, but it wasn't what everyone else is saying. So clearly there must be other tape that I need to see what other people are. Because going back to what we said earlier, like we like reading what people say who don't necessarily say the exact same things as us. Because I know what I think, but I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Like I want to see what other people think. And so like last year, that guy, was Bateman. I was low on Bateman. And I kept seeing him. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch. And what I really did is I rewatched the tape from the year prior. And I was like, oh, okay. I see it now. I
get it.
And he jumped up big time. I know he didn't really do great last year, but I think that was partially because of Lamar getting hurt. But anyway, yeah, I think Skye Moore could be something. He's someone also I've seen that sneaks maybe into the end of the first round. I don't see that happening, but
that would shock me.
Like we said, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
It's crazy. That's why we're all excited for the NFL draft to start in 6 days.
Can't wait. That sounds cooking, man.
Wait. Speaking of NFL draft, we're looking to next week, Friday, special first round reaction show.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Little teaser. But yeah, let's get to cooking. Oh yeah, we'll be together. We got a fun day planned for us. We might be a little sauced up.
Even better.
Let's get to cooking. First off, it's us degenerate gamblers. Daily betting. There's something on all the time. And you got NBA games, 3 games a night for this first round. Awesome. Get perfect. I love a 3-leg parlay. That's like perfect. Plus you got MLB, that's always fun.
Right.
You same game parlays there.
Early game baseball, you get lots of daytime baseball. There's just action all around.
I love it. This April is one of the top sports months. October's the best, but April's up there.
April is definitely up there.
All right. Next one, the Warriors. Woo! Placed a little action on them to sweep.
Yeah,
I'm liking my odds. Dude, they are different. I did not know Jordan Poole was this dude.
No.
You could tell I didn't watch enough NBA basketball because that dude is sick. You got Steph coming off the bench.
I know. What do you do?
I saw in 11 minutes of gameplay through 2 games. It was Poole, Clay, Steph, Draymond, and I think Wiggins. Those 5 have 11 minutes of gameplay and are up 29 points, plus 29. So that's equivalent of every quarter winning by 30 points. Pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, just silly stuff. But they were all kind of hurt leading up to the playoffs, and they're all good. And
so is Steve Kerr.
Yeah. I think he gets the Phil Jackson stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if they make the finals this year, that'll be 6 out of the last 8 finals they've made. That's insane. And
I don't care who's on your team.
Right, they got hurt for 2 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Warriors. I bet Priest right for the playoffs. I picked Bucks as my champion. Regretting. I wish I would have gone Warriors, especially with the Chris Middleton injury.
That hurts.
That's a big loss. Hopefully he can come back. But yeah, Warriors are insane. Jordan Poole, wow, just wow. Not fair. Our last cooking is Dodgers, man. That's you.
9-3 start for the old LA Dodgers, and unlike the crowds out there, no late start.
No, we didn't.
Shots fired. Plus 32 run differential in 12 games.
That's silly.
That's crazy. That's all I need to say there.
Yeah, I mean, their lineup was always going to be something. I'm curious, is Bellinger doing good? Do you know? Because I never know what to think about him. He's either the best player in baseball or how are you hitting?
He was really bad last year.
Right. But he's off and on.
Yeah, I know he's hit a few home runs already. Yeah, I'm not sure how other than that.
All right. Moving on to booking. Starting with the Nets.
LOL.
Zach, are you a Nets hater? Because this guy is.
I'm not a Nets hater. I like KD a lot.
I like KD a lot.
I don't like James
Harden. Guess why I hate him? Well, he's gone. He's on Philly.
Oh, duh. I'm stupid.
But can you guess why I hate him? I don't like Kyrie, man.
Yeah.
He's still likable, especially with the youths. and I'm around a lot of youths, and they love Kyrie, and so I'm loving this. I'm trolling all my kids. I have one kid that wears a Kyrie jersey all the time. I'm like, dude, what happened in that game? You got the Celtics winning again? He's like, Mr. Haley, leave me alone.
No, I will not.
No, literally. So we had our first baseball game, and I would get back on the bus and I check my phone, and Nets were up like 15 or something like that, like right before the half. And they're like, "Oh, what now, Mr. Haley? What now?" I'm like, "Just wait." And we're like driving. I'm like, "Hey, Celtics are catching up. Celtics are catching up." And then they won. And then the next day we had practice. I was like, "Hey, Zay," I was like, "Where's Kyrie at? Where's Kyrie?"
Where's Kyrie?
I don't know. I just feel like he's. I don't know. If I had to pick, like when I do 2K, I pick his layup style. Like I think he's the best guy at getting to attacking the back.
Oh, and like finishing.
Under, right, that he was under like 6'4" or whatever. He might be one of the best ever. But I just feel like he's just like he doesn't try. Like I don't know. He
could be so much more.
That's my thing. He leaves me wanting more. So I'm happy the Nets are losing. That Jason Tatum game winner was silly.
That was crazy cool.
Right. I can't believe Marcus Smart passed that. I would have bet $1 billion he would have taken that shot. Once he got the pump fake and got the two guys blow past him, 100%. I still don't believe it. I think we're in an alternate timeline. Next guy, Ben McAdoo. So happy he's back. That shows you how much of a shit show Carolina is in, that they had to go back to Ben McAdoo for their OC.
Right.
But dude says, he's like talking to the media, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Sam's our starter." He didn't get asked. He didn't like bring it up. He got asked. And then like they had to come back a couple hours later. He's like, "Yeah, trying to get better at talking to you all, the media." I said something I shouldn't have said. Sam's not our starter.
I should have let Matt say that.
Poor Sam Darnold. He was officially started for like 3 hours.
That's it. That's all he gets. Trade a second round pick.
If they don't take a quarterback at 6, I will I don't know. I'll be beyond shocked. I might cut off a toe. I don't know. Maybe I'll rip a toenail off like way too short, and so I know I'll have like an ingrown toenail and it'll hurt.
I mean, if you cut off a toe, at least you'd finally be down to 10 toes. So,
whoa.
I'm sorry, I just told everyone about your 11th toe.
I mean, secrets. I thought we were boys. I was just saying, you and I are like those friends, like those true friends that like every time instantly we hang out, it's like we hung out yesterday. So I'm never gonna forgive you for that.
I hope next week isn't ruined.
I'm not going golfing with you. You can't sit with us.
Well, you might. Hey, maybe if you had 10 toes, you might be a better golfer. You'd have a better stance.
Dude, I can't golf for shit.
Better even stance.
I think for being as short as I am, I'm all right. But anyway,
you got it. Yeah, you're right there.
Got to choke open the club, not because I want to, because I have to.
Not because I want to.
Moving on. Alcides Escobar for the Nationals. This happened about a week ago, but it still needs to be said. Yeah. Pickoff throw from JT Brubaker in Pittsburgh. Dude didn't have a very big lead. He didn't have to go to the ground. He just kind of reached out with his leg. Unfortunately, he chose like the outside leg, and so opened up his hips to the pitcher, and hopefully he was wearing a cup because he got one right in the jewel.
He didn't have to go to the ground, but I'm sure he got sent to the ground.
He was there by the end of the play.
Oh, God, that's got to be just the worst. I mean, and then that's like one of those things, like, every player on the field and in the dugout was just like, oh, God, no.
Every man in the stands was,
all right.
That's like being around like middle schoolers a lot, especially with now I'm playing baseball. They're kind of like shooting the shit because that's kind of what baseball players do, and it's not like it's structured to school. They do like nutsack taps and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh, and they're like, they think it was like no big deal because when you're middle school, that shit happens all the time. Right. But I'm like, I haven't been hitting the nuts in like 10 years. I'm like, that is terrifying.
Oh, I've got a kid.
Oh yeah, being speed bag.
I'll say that door was opened back up a while ago, and it's not fun.
It's not a fun door.
You
don't want that door opened. I got a padlock on mine. But yeah, so 4s for Escobar. F's
Thoughts
in the chat.
Prayers.
T's and P's. Last one. It's Guan time. Sean Kingston. Let's go. Hey.
He totally deserves this too.
I love this dude. It's
Same.
Joel Embiid. His game winner was just silly. Harden got hurt. Or no, he fouled out. Sorry. He didn't get hurt. Strike that from the record. He fouled out in overtime. So it was just Embiid. And dude caught the pass on inbound, running like towards the sideline, jump, spin, swish, 3-pointer for the win.
Badass.
At like 7 foot, like 250. Like he's bulky.
When his game is on, he's like one of the most fun players to watch.
He's the most dominant player in the NBA, in my opinion, even over Giannis.
Yeah. And then like top it off with like his troll game.
Oh,
King.
MVP'd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally think he deserved it just because I feel like he's the most dominant player in the league, and Philly's a legit title contender, and I hope Harden can get his act together. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been like what they need. Anyway,
I know. I want to see. I want to see them get somebody that's not Harden.
I know. Poor Embiid. He's like Penn State wide receivers. He should be so good.
Cue the taps.